Hey, I'm really excited to share this. I've been reading this book, Joy at Work. There's a name you might recognize, Marie Kondo, who, of course, wrote books and had a Netflix show about tidying up. And this is a book about applying those same concepts into your work life, tidying up your work environment, but also your processes, the way you work, your electronics, your email, that sort of thing. And I've been really enjoying it. But there was something in it that really connected to me as an agile coach, and I wanted to share it on this video. So, in her book, when she talks about tidying up, the very first step is to visualize the kind of work environment and the kind of work life you want to have. So she actually has you close your eyes and imagine coming into work. Imagine going through your work day. What does that feel like in an ideal state, right? And then she ties this into having a tidy environment. So you can imagine that it'd be nice to come into your work day and sit down and just grab the thing you need, start on your task. Or maybe you have a quick conversation with someone and then settle into a nice calm space, right? And this is meant to lead to how do you want your environment to be set up to be conducive to that work experience. And this really connected to me as an agile coach because in a lot of ways I think that's what we're trying to do with agile. We're trying to change the world of work in a way that is more aligned to what we imagine our ideal work experience being. So let's say, for example, I'm a product owner on a team, and I could visualize what I want to experience in a daily scrum. Wouldn't it be great if I walked in and I didn't need to ask for status updates because I took a quick look at the board and I saw how things had changed since yesterday, right? And so there's my update to status. Now I know what's progressed and what hasn't. I see if there's a blocker. And then I don't need to ask any questions. I just listen, right? The team gives their synchronization. They talk to each other. Hey, Bob asked Jennifer, I'm running into this problem. That's why this thing is blocked. And I think you ran into something similar last week. Do you think you have 15 minutes to maybe sit down with me this morning and help me out with it? Right now, hey, as a product owner, I've just gotten to hear, no prying, no in-depth question, no 3 questions, the typical status meeting scrum. None of that, right? I just hear people talking about what's going on. It gives me an idea of what's going on. And I leave that meeting really feeling better informed and pretty confident that I understand how the sprint is progressing. Wouldn't that be a wonderful, wonderful way to experience that daily scrum? So what is it that I actually go to then? Is I go into the daily scrum. Maybe the scrum master walks in front of the board and goes around in a circle. What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? What are your impediments? What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? What are your impediments? Right? And it's this slow, methodical thing. The board hasn't been updated in days. I can't tell anything. And these, and I feel like I'm just hearing the same thing. There's some technical stuff. I formatted this. I changed this database table. I'm working with these libraries. No impediments. Nothing's moving, but there are no impediments. What's going on? So I leave there having no clue how the sprint is going. That's okay. Right? Now, I am in a position to tidy up my work environment, right? To make it a more joyful experience. Now when I go into the retrospective, I have things that I can raise. Hey, I noticed nothing moves on the board, but everyone says no impediments. This is confusing to me. Maybe we could talk about this. And then someone else on the team says, oh, well, I always say no impediments because no one here knows how to fix anything I'm doing anyway. Well, maybe that's something that we can improve on and we can grow as a team. So if I take the time to visualize the work environment that I would like, what my ideal workday would be, right? If the team takes the time to visualize that, then we can look at where we're at and try to make some incremental improvements towards that ideal. That's the promise of Agile, right? The very first value statement in Agile, individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Not follow this guide verbatim, it's help these people interact better, have a more joyful work experience. And if you're the Scrum Master, so many times we talk to Scrum Masters and they say, I facilitate these meetings, I make some reports, but I don't really know what I do as a Scrum Master. This is the main thing you do as a Scrum Master, right? That reports, facilitating meetings, all the rest of that stuff is the secondary. It's the how you might move the meter on this. This is the most important thing. What is an effective, joyful work experience? Right? And I'm using joyful because I've been reading this, right? And frankly, that's the term she uses. But we want to feel fulfilled at work. We want to feel like we're good at our job. In a work context, that's what joyful means. It doesn't necessarily mean fun and lighthearted. It means that I walk out at the end of the day feeling like I put in a good day's work, feeling fulfilled, feeling like I added value. Right? How do we create that work experience? And if you're a Scrum Master, that's exactly what you should be looking for. You should be helping the team find what is that ideal, joyful work experience. Where are we now? And what are some steps that we can make towards that so that we can eventually get there or as near there as possible? Right? So just to kind of recap, what kicked this off is reading this book. I can't recommend it enough if you're into that sort of thing, especially if you've read, her other book on tidying up your house and you thought that was cool. This is all about work and it's a blast. And even if you're not into that, even if you don't want to read the book, take that advice from it. Take the time, either yourself or even with a whole team. Heck, maybe you're the CEO. What does it look like for the organization? Visualize what the most wonderfully running organization, wonderfully effective organization that always delivers on its goals, that always delivers the value it's intended to in its mission statement, and has in its entire organization full of joyful work experiences. What does that look like? Visualize it and then find your path to get there. Right? That's what succeeding with Agile is really about. I get excited by this. I hope it excites you too. Have a wonderful day.